Welcome back, Tribe. Got an episode here about Americans struggling in the job market. Let's get into it.
I will never be able to afford a house. I will never be able to afford a house.
Home prices are rising nationwide as inflation remains stubborn and mortgage rates remain high as Americans compete for fewer available homes. Home prices in March were up 0.4% compared to February. Now, that's the second month in a row that we have seen gains.
My parents' house that is $195,000 back in 96 is now worth like $500,000 to $700,000.
Yeah.
My children will never be able to have the life I live because I can't afford to do it.
I don't think any of us thought when we were growing up that owning a home would be a luxury. Like maybe we thought it would be a bit difficult, but not like a luxury that basically only the rich will be able to afford.
No one that works a full-time job should be facing homelessness. And that's what my family is facing right now.
I'm being completely radicalized by the rental housing market right now. I cannot believe that you can pay over $300 in non-refundable fees just to apply for an apartment.
A big part of the reason why social life here in America is getting more and more difficult has to do with the fact that nobody can afford decent housing.
Everybody in America kind of knows, like, it's over. Like, there will be no recovery. Like, this is not like the other times. This ain't like 2008 where, we'll crash and then we'll get back up.
Because right now, this economy, this world is set up to make average American families fail.
And I'm appalled that our particular kind of capitalism not only fails to deal with the housing problem, but somehow routinizes it so that the homelessness is blamed on the homeless, blaming the victim kind of, because I can see why a society does it, because if you're such a failure at providing this basic human need, you better blame somebody, because otherwise you risk blaming yourself.
Probably going to make some people mad, but I don't feel like 90% of us make enough money to even worry about the economy crashing. Everybody is like, the stock market's going to crash, share prices are going down, and I'm like, I never got a share in the first place. The housing market is plummeting. Maybe I'll finally be able to afford one. I want to be in a tariff tax bracket to where I can actually care. Rate we're going, no one's ever going to be able to afford a new car. I've not been able to do that anyway.
I can get my hands on a nice lump sum of money, baby. I'm buying land in another country and I'm out of here because there's nothing left here but struggle.
Hi there, my name is Tyler, and even though I work between 50 and 60 hours every single week, I am homeless living here in my car because of inflation. There wasn't any help to keep me in my apartment, even though I paid my rent on time for 3 years. I got behind just 2 weeks because I lost my job for reasons outside of my control. And I called the city, I called the county, I called the state, I called charitable organizations like Salvation Army and church.
Yeah, I just read about somebody's rent jumping from $1,700 to $3,000. Essentially, they were forced out of their place. And that's becoming par for course, especially in this economy that we have today. They say that prices are starting to cool off a little bit, but to get to the reasonable pricing that we should be under pre-COVID, I don't think that's going to happen. Look, we're turning on the money printer. Gold is at a new time high. The stock market, new all-time high. The dollar lost over 10% of its value this year alone. Where it's not looking good, you guys. If we're going to turn on the money printer and the spigots, printers go burr, which looks like it's going to happen. And you need to understand why the dollar is being debased and devalued. We have $1 trillion in interest payments, essentially. We have trillions of dollars in debt that has accrued. We need to start paying it down. Well, one way to pay it down, which every single empire before us has done, from the Roman Empire to the Byzantine to whoever else you could look at historically, a good way to do that is to debase your currency. But what happens when you debase the currency, you make it exceedingly harder for everybody else to function in a broken, inflated economy. So people start to search for assets outside of the dollar. The confidence in the dollar lowers. Interest rates start to grow because people want more to deal in dollars. Think international markets, the bonds, stuff like that. So you as an average American and most companies and anybody else who's usually buying the government debt is now going to start looking at things like gold, housing, land, assets that can't be printed out of thin air. That can't be multiplied. You can't shave this down and make 2 out of 1. So what's happening is essentially you're watching the destruction of the dollar in real time by our own central bank in order to service our massive debt bubble that we've created by printing away to pay for foreign wars, funding foreign countries, other bullshit US aid and all the other soft power projection that costs hundreds of billions of dollars over time, trillions of dollars in these never-ending wars. This is coming to bite us in the ass. We got off the gold standard in 1971 in order for the government to print infinite dollars like this. This is not a shock to anybody. And if you've been paying attention, you'll understand just how bad things are going to keep getting. No, Trump will not save us. No politician will save us. We need a complete reorientation, and that starts with having a discussion about the role of our central bank. Do you think any politician today is going to talk about our central bank and the Fed? Yeah, right. There's only like 2 that I know of.
Churches, and I was told time and time again that there was no help for me. The most that was given to me was being put on a 7-year wait list for possible affordable housing. I believe.
And we're talking about in the private community, you guys, about the power of the dollar and how much was lost. I did the math. In 1971, $1, is worth $8 today. That's how much purchasing power you have lost. These things here are rapidly becoming fucking worth nothing. Quite literally, the paper they're printed on is worth nothing. Can you imagine multiplying this by 8? This is what it got you. That's $160 is what this thing should be worth. Do you understand that? That's crazy. Our money is worth nothing. And that's in order to match what a $20 bill was able to get you back then, with gas prices back then, with grocery prices back then, with housing back then. Even when you adjust the wages that they earned in 71, the average median income for a house was something like 83 or 88. I can't remember the exact number, but do you know what the average median income is today, adjusted for that same inflation, of course? It was like 84 or 89, something like that. Essentially, $1,000 more. You're earning $1,000 more today than the average family was in 71. Yet you're paying for the cost of living metrics of today. Fuck, man. You have no idea how bad it is. Oh, well, you do, clearly. A lot of Americans are talking about it, but you have a subset of people that are like, have their fucking thumbs in their ears and their or up their ass, and they're like, "This is going good for me. If you can't make money in this economy, if you don't pull up yourself by these bootstraps, you're a fucking failure." You know what I'm talking about? I work 28 motherfucking hours every goddamn day. I don't take breaks. Even I was eating my sandwich as I was plastering the wall. Shut the fuck up, you retard. You literally do not have any idea that the math doesn't fucking math today. That the wages have been stagnant for the better part of 20 years while inflation crept up on every other fucking metric today. The dollar is not worth jack shit that it's printed on. That is why every asset against the dollar has risen. The stock market, all fucking commodities, essentially. Gold, silver, any other precious fucking metal, any industrial metal. That's why these companies, their valuations are absolutely insane. It literally makes sense to put your money in anything other than the dollar today. You motherfucker, you just don't know how hard it is in my day. Shut the fuck up, bro. These guys, these boomers, these older Gen X's are fucking mentally retarded.
That this is wrong. There's so many hardworking people like myself, tens of thousands of hardworking Americans that are out here trying to survive, but we can't afford a place to live anymore, and we're being forced to live in our cars, and I believe that is wrong.
We've been priced out of buying a home. We've been priced out of going to the grocery store and just getting the things that we need. We've been priced out of medical care. We've been priced out of Social Security. We've been priced out of 401ks, retirements, everything. We've been priced out of life. We've been priced out of children. We've been priced out at every single step. And they wonder why we're not having children. Like, and then the people that are like, well, just work hard and just do this and just do that. You have never actually lived in the time that we're living in right now. I wish all the boomers had to start over right now. Start from scratch, because the company that you're going to be hired to is not going to offer you benefits. You're not going to get health insurance. You're not going to get a 401k. You're not going to get barely any PTO, and you're going to get paid so much less in comparison to what it was back then. Cost of it. Like, people don't do the math actually right, because they're like, well, y'all are getting paid so much more. Da, 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 da. The new $5 back when you were doing stuff is now $20. The new $20 back when you were doing stuff is $100. So we might be getting paid just marginally more, which actually minimum wage federally hasn't changed since 2009. Fact check that. I'm pretty sure it was 2009. Get out of here. The boomers, go. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We have been priced out of life.
Yeah, I don't really get what the plan is for like a future of American society when no one can afford to have kids. Like, they're clearly not going to do anything about the cost of housing being so expensive that no one can afford to buy homes, or like no one who owns a home right now is ever going to buy a new one because it's so expensive. They're clearly not going to do anything about childcare being thousands of dollars a month, and the fact that you have to put your kid in daycare because you can't afford to have a one-parent household. And they're not going to do anything about student loan debt and the fact that one or all three of those things prevent people from having kids because we can't afford it. I know part of what they're going to do is take away birth control, take away abortion until like we don't have much say in the matter. But what is the plan for a country where no one
daycare rates today. And she said, how do you afford kids here? Because nobody knows how anybody is paying for this. For an infant for 5 days a week with 10 hours of care, it is $664 a week. That is just shy of $35,000 a year for one child. And the price does not drop that much when they hit pre-K here. It's $521 a week, which is about like $28,000 a year, okay? These are incredibly high rates for daycare. And of course, you could drop down to 9 hours a day or whatever it might be. But here's the thing. When you go to daycare, typically you're going to take the most hours because you have to commute to work, you have to commute back from work, and you have to work 8 hours a day. And unfortunately, when you miss pickup by 1 minute, they start charging you like $2 a minute. So usually it's more cost effective just to pay the higher rate for the 10 hours than to pay for the 9 hours, which is like crazy because it's 1 hour difference. These are rates for one kid. We were talking about one child. Imagine if a family has two kids. They're paying $50,000, $60,000 a year for childcare. That is unsustainable for most families. And yes, the cost goes down slightly as they get older. But what that doesn't account for, that rate sheet, is the annual increase. Every single September, daycare centers raise their tuitions because they have to. And typically that's anywhere between 5 to 20%. And most people are looking at 10% increase. So even though you have that savings when they hit pre-K, by the time your kid hits pre-K, it's been 4 or 5 years. That rate has gone up exponentially, okay? So when someone tells you they can't afford to have children, oftentimes it's because of the cost of childcare. And if it's not just the cost of childcare, it's the cost of housing and groceries. And you compound all those things, healthcare costs, it's incredibly expensive. I did not know, looking back 4 or 5 years ago when I first started having kids, that I would be paying this much money for daycare because the rates looked drastically different. The rates over the last 20 years or something have gone up like 200%. It is wild how expensive childcare is in our country. If we had affordable childcare, it would not only benefit families and children, it would benefit the economy, it would benefit businesses, and it would benefit us as a greater society. The economy would be better for it. This is not just a parent problem, right?
You voted for fucking open borders, bro. So your wages are stagnant. You got replaced by H-1B workers, essentially. You voted in for your replacement. You voted in for crime everywhere. You voted in to destroy the nuclear family. You voted for this. That's the problem here. You fucking voted for this exact government over and over. You wanted a liberal, you wanted big daddy government to come bail you out of all your mistakes. You should have kept the old system. Why? Because it was working. You thought you could do better. You didn't do better. You did worse. And now when we're talking about, hey, maybe we should kind of go back to the old ways. Maybe fixing this means reversing course. No. We can never go back. No. Listen. I'm okay working like a fucking wage cuck for the IRS in a cubicle where I don't mean shit. I'm a fucking cockroach under the CEO's foot. But let me go be an empowered boss, babe. Don't need no man. But like, guys, help me. Daycare. I'm paying $600 a week. That's like fucking highway robbery. I'm strong and independent. And on top of what I get from raping my man in court, it's just like, how's a girl supposed to live? Eat shit. Seriously. Eat shit. Everyone deserves exactly what the fuck they voted for. No offense to her. Nothing personal to her. We keep voting in for liberal policies. This is what's going to happen. You want to be more independent? Get a fucking husband. Go raise a family together. Include your grandparents. Stop letting fucking strangers watch your kids. This is such a weird American cuck fucking take care. I need childcare. I need strangers, not my fucking literal parents. I need strangers to watch my kids for me. You've lost your fucking mind and you want to pay these people $600? I wouldn't even do a live-in nanny. Are you fucking stupid? That's what your grandparents are for. See, you stepped away from the old world's ways, and now you're getting punished for it. You fucking thought that liberal utopia was going to be all sunshine and rainbows. Turns out it wasn't. Let's cut the bullshit. No more horse shit. Let's go back to the way it was, because it was much better. And both genders were much happier. And the kids weren't fucked in the head. And we weren't getting propagandized with crazy shit nonstop. We were touching grass, living on our fucking nice communes, having a grand old time with, nice big yard, 2 cars, 1 wage, white picket fence, beautiful house, 6 fucking kids, and you could afford it all. No problem. Okay. Can we go back to that? I don't know. Just saying, wondering. Unless you want to keep suffering, keep struggling, go ahead. Vote in more liberal policies. Everybody should be going hard to the right and rejecting this new style liberal economy. The shit's not working. We need to hold the politicians' feet to the fire. Stop raising the motherfucking debt ceiling. Fire 100, 200, 300. I don't care how many you got to fucking fire. Federal workers that are non-essential. Stop bailing corporations. I'll stop fucking sending money overseas. We tariff the dick out of everybody who will not build factories in this country, and we only buy American. This is how you start to fix shit. Yeah? Okay? No one gives a fuck about your right to an abortion and all this other stupid shit that you're worrying about. I need abortion. Bitch, you can't afford rent. You cannot afford to even have kids. Incredible, bro. I've seen some comments today. It just blew me away and made me think like, damn, we're never going to get over this. The half of the population is literally fucking retarded.